What's going on, guys? How we doing? Everyone having a good night? Everyone doing okay? Just doing a couple last little adjustments here, and then we'll get going. Rev, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Hopefully you're doing well. Here for the press conference. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, you were wearing red as well? Awesome. Dope. Dope. Cool deal, man. Cool deal. Oh, man. Alright. Go ahead and meet the gear OST and play some other stuff as well. Hey, True God Abyss, thank you for that sub, dude. Appreciate it, man. 4 months, dude. That's awesome. Thank you for that, man. Appreciate that. Let's see. What tracks should we run here? I know I got my anonymous music tracks here. Oh, man. I think I'm gonna pull a Rev here, and I might just pull some Final Fantasy X tracks. Might be what I will go with here as we're having our quote-unquote press conference. Sure, we'll roll with this. The music sucks, though. I'm gonna, like, it doesn't fit. I'm gonna be changing it, though. We'll see. Orange dope. We'll go with that. So, alright. So, just a heads up, we are gonna play some Guilty Gear Strive later tonight. Right now, though, it's not quite up yet. It's supposed to be up and running by 11 p.m. tonight. So, obviously, when that becomes up, we'll hop into it. There's not going to be any online play, but it does have an offline feature where we will play some matches against the computer and kind of get a feel for the characters that are in this and, like, some of the new changes that they had and everything. For those who don't know, the Strive beta has 7 characters: Soul, Kai, May, Axel, Chip, Potemkin, and Faust are all going to be available for this. But yeah, we're going to have that going at 11 o'clock tonight. Hopefully. We'll see. Oh, yeah, dude. Yakuza 0? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that OST's dope, dude. Like, it's really good. I think all the Yakuza soundtracks are on there. I know Diver would know for sure. Alright. I guess enough beating around the bush with this, right? Guess we'll just get right into it, and I'll go ahead and switch screens here to my tweet message I put out today, just regarding some stuff, basically my time with events and hosting. As you can see, basically written out, all the time that's, been spent with the lockdown, been giving a lot of thought to things and reflecting on, all the events that, Brian and I ran here in Jacksonville. And, it's crazy when we look back. I want to say, when did we start this? 2017? I want to say sounds about right. 2017, I want to say. It was the end of 2016. And, we weren't having much going on as far as like tournaments and events and things like that. And this is when fighting games were starting to become more and more rampant, especially with like how many different games are out there. Street Fighter V was out at this time and it was going strong. Other games like Guilty Gear and anime scene in general was starting to pick up a little bit too and everything. Tekken was right around the corner. There was just a lot of stuff that was going on, and we had our sessions. We had our casual hangouts that we did with each individual community. But I felt that the community itself at that time, especially with how many strong players we had in Jacksonville at that time, that just weren't really given certain opportunities, because Jacksonville is the fourth kid basically in Florida when you look at it. You got Orlando, you got Tampa, you got South Florida. Jacksonville's kind of whatever. Like North Florida is a region, really there wasn't really a lot to it at that time. And talked with a bunch of my friends about it, Rev being one of them that's here in the chat, Zenosuke, a few others in my community. I brought up the idea of, why don't I give a shot at trying to run events and trying to bring back a tournament scene. And, there was other people that tried to run tournaments here in Jacksonville. I mean, going as far back as, Tiger, which was well before I moved to Jacksonville. I moved to Jacksonville in 2014. And before then, Tiger was the one that was really doing a lot of different things. And, eventually he had decided to no longer do them for whatever reasons they were. I don't know all the details with that. But I know that he did run stuff and everything. And then there's been some others that's tried, and sometimes it would be good, but there was inconsistencies here and there. And I knew, and especially talking with everyone about this and everything, that I knew the commitment and knew what was going to be, happening with that, like as far as the dedication and time and all that. And I knew Brian, Villain 904, who, was also doing stuff on the stream side of things and everything. And, I talked with him about it and seeing if there was an interest of, he and I, possibly working together on all this and trying to make this a bigger deal. And he was down for it and everything. And we were, set to go and try to get this going. But the one thing that I wanted to be sure of, and the one thing that I thought about with, all the other events that I went to during my time when I was just like participating or competing or whatever the case may be, I wanted to make sure, and I wanted to have the perfect venue. And again, I'm kind of providing a little backstory with, how this all started and everything. So bear with me. It might be a little wordy here and there. But, I wanted to find a venue that was going to be perfect for the community. Not just like a venue that would look at people as a number or just as like, an analytic or a stat or whatever the case may be. I wanted to have a place where the community would feel welcome. Like that was my big thing, because like there were spots where I would see other events being held, but like it would seem like the venue or whatever the case may be would be kind of treating everyone more as a nuance or like a just something that was like unwelcome. It was like an unwelcome feeling, and I wanted to avoid that, and I wanted to make sure that didn't wasn't the case or anything. So I reached out to some people and trying to get some ideas as far as finding a venue is concerned and everything. And one of the people that helped me out with this was Ryan, who was in charge of GAM, which is Gaming, Art, and Music in Jacksonville. And so he had told me that there was a new place that was going to be opening up at the Landing downtown, called GLHF, which was Good Luck Have Fun Game Bar. It was inside Chicago Pizza, and it was everything that, you know, Ryan described this place as, and, you know, what he described the owner as was like, oh, cool. You know, this is perfect and everything. Villain, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Yeah, Starbolt. I did get in the beta. It's not live yet, though, so it's going to go live around 11 o'clock. Just a heads up. So kind of going back to, you know, the discussion, I went ahead and made an arrangement to meet with the owner, you know, Cliff at the time. And people, you know, got to know Cliff and everything, too. And went to him, talked about the ideas that I had and everything. And he was on board immediately with it and everything. So, you know, after discussing things with Villain about bringing back monthlies at this time, now securing a venue with GLHF, and everything along those lines, we were set to launch Revival, which the name was chosen for that because we wanted to try to revitalize the community and wanted to revitalize, you know, the competitive scene. And it just made sense at that time. Didn't know what to expect. You know, we didn't anticipate what it would be. It was like, you know, hey, we got something back now. We got something back for the community in this regard. That first one comes out in January. I want to say we had about 80 people show up for that first one, which I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was expecting maybe, you know, 30 or 40 at the most as far as showing up to this thing, you know? I mean, we basically promoted it in, you know, our scenes and everything that we knew. But to have that type of turnout on the first one and everything was amazing. And that first one that we did, GLHF was even on board even more with it. They were really welcoming to everyone. Like, everyone just got along. It was a great time. And it just got ironed out to where, like, you know what? We can do this a month, you know, once a month. We can make this like a legit monthly. And, you know, second one comes around, had solid number with that, had about 60, 70. Then it just more and more and more as, you know, we continued developing it and everything, and then new games getting added and released, you know, like Tekken 7 entered the fold, and that bumped up the attendance there and everything. Dragon Ball Fighters as well. Good God, that was like when Dragon Ball Fighters dropped, that was the first event where we had over 100, you know, go for it and everything and stuff like that. And the unique thing about the events that Brian and I did, and Brian, definitely feel free to chime in on this as well if you want. The cool thing about our events and what we did, we were strictly FGC, meaning we were probably the only consistent monthly in Florida that did not run Smash. We were strictly fighting game stuff. And it just grew even more and more to where, like, it wasn't just like the community at that time was thriving and everything, and, you know, community itself was getting some opportunities as well, being sponsored to go to certain tournaments and, you know, going like that and everything. It was amen, brother, preach that. It was just so much that was growing with it. And, you know, to this day, I still highlight probably the biggest achievement that Brian and I were able to do, and alongside with GLHF. Like, I don't want to, you know, misrepresent GLHF, because they were a huge part of how big things got with the monthly and everything, which, you know, proved to my theory that, like, you know, if you get a venue that backs what it is you're trying to do and backs your, you know, vision of what it is that you're trying to grow and everything, there's so many new opportunities that can come and help out with things, you know? So we were able to finally launch our biggest monthly in June of 2018, where we were actually able to do our event at a local TV station here in Jacksonville, WJCT. And by the way, shout out to the Seymour theme kicking on, making it sound like I'm just an evil bastard now. Thank you for that. Bad timing with that. But anyway, so that event in its own there drew, I want to say, over 200 people for that one. And then we also included Smash with that one, worked with Mark Ronan on that to bring Smash community in for that particular event. And like, that was a crowning achievement. Like, that was an event that showed that Jacksonville definitely could hold some type of regional and everything. So, you know, things were riding high, things were great and everything. And then August 2018. That was a time where things were derailed. Not from anything that the community did, not from anything that was mismanaged or anything along those lines. It was just a thing that happened that no one expected to happen. And for those who know me and know what I'm referring to, it's the unfortunate incident that happened at GLHF with the shooting that took place during the Madden tournament. That Brian and I were both outsourced to. That incident and that deal, and I'm not going to speak for Brian on this or anything, but I'm going to speak for myself on this and everything. That incident, unfortunately, derailed more than just one thing. It derailed a ton of different things, you know. And that ended up being a really, really tough time with everything. We weren't able to do any events for a while. It was well over a year. Like, we weren't able to do another thing until September. I mean, like, and when I say September, I mean September of the following year, like September 2018. So actually, I think this all happened in 2017. And I don't know, but the dates are funny. No, it was 2019 because I started doing other things too and everything, stuff like that. But it took Brian and I a long time to recover and be able to do things again. You know, we had lost a venue. There was equipment that was lost. There was just so many things that went into that whole ordeal that, you know, just disrupted everything. And it sucked. It was the worst thing that could possibly happen. And, you know, I wanted to try to bounce back. I wanted to try to get things going again, but there was just so many different things that just took place during that whole ordeal that was just like, just made it incredibly difficult. So then August of 2019, now I got my dates right. A buddy of mine that worked with me at the radio station that I work at on a part-time basis told me about his restaurant that's trying to do some different things and everything. And this was our the Colhane's Irish Pub that was on the south side. And he told me he wanted me to try maybe running a gaming event over there. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. We could do that. Let's see what we could do and everything. And that's when I put together an Evo watch party to bring the community in, so the community can meet these guys, and these guys can see what the community is all about and everything. And it went well. Like, things went well for that watch party and everything. And it looked like, things were going to be good and everything. Do the first, return of Revival, September 2019, and, had over 120 people show up for this. An event we hadn't done in over a year, and we just put the word out that, hey, we're going to bring this back in September, and had 120 people show up. It was awesome. And, at that time I was thinking things were going to be, getting back on track. And then, after that, I get a Facebook message from the GM of Graffiti Junction. And they wanted me to start doing bi-weeklies over at their place. And that started in October, and every other week we started doing Wednesday night sessions over at Graffiti Junction. And then I want to say January comes around, and we are now able to do things, Leaderboard, which opened in Orange Park. They wanted me to do bi-weeklies over there opposite weeks. So we finally had weeklies going and everything, stuff like that. And that went strong for... The bi-weeklies with Graffiti Junction went strong since October. And then the weeklies or bi-weeklies at Leaderboard, I want to say started in January or February, one of those two. And that started up, and, things were good. The only downfall was, or the only inconsistent thing was still the monthlies. And we wanted to try to, do things more at Colhane's because they had everything, so like that, food, drink, all that stuff. But the one thing that I mentioned earlier about how I wanted to find a venue that didn't look at the community as just numbers, but as new potential to bring in and have that welcoming feeling and everything. All the things that worked with GLHF, it was not so much with Colhane's behind the scenes. It ended up being a deal where they started looking at it as numbers. They didn't think they were getting their investment on return, or whatever the case may be, It happens. That's just the way, some businesses look at things. They look at it strictly by numbers. That's the way they perceive it. I didn't believe them because, and everyone else I talked to, especially some of their employees, everything was great. They loved it. But the higher ups, didn't, necessarily see the bigger picture, to say the least. So after the November monthly, we cut ties. And it was, end of that, basically. So we tried to find, some other spots or anything. And obviously, with the way things went, especially with what happened with GLHF and everything, it just got that much more difficult to find a venue. Because it was always, gaming community is the same thing that's going to is there potential of the same thing happening that happened at the landing, or what about security, all this, like, it just became so much red tape to try to run an event in Jacksonville. And we're doing this out of the love for the community. We don't have deep pockets or anything like that to be able to cover like a lot of the extra costs that like each venue was wanting to ask for and everything. And hell, I was working 4 jobs at the time, and I could barely keep my head above water. So it just got more and more difficult with trying to do events the way we were able to in the past, because of how much things changed because of what happened. there was also the potential of trying to, do an event over at Ace Arena, which was the new esports arena that was opening up in Jacksonville, and things along those lines. But, unfortunately, things fell through with that, and we weren't able to do it at the time we wanted to. So we tried to run our February event, which we had a really awesome turnout for that and everything, over at Stellar Corporation, using one of their office buildings that we had literally to ourselves the entire weekend. Like, it had everything that we wanted, and set up a deal with Leaderboard coming out and serving food and everything and doing all that. And next thing we know, that day goes by. Obviously, if you were there, you saw the issues that happened where we lost power. We tried to refunnel power because of the way the building was laid out and everything. We tried to make the best with what we could do and everything. A lot of people still enjoyed the event. A lot of people still had fun and everything. And now here we are with what's going on now, with this pandemic and with things being closed the way they are, and just it's the state of everything that is what we're having to deal with now. Like, this is unfortunately our new norm. And this is something I've had in the back of my mind for a while. And I know I've talked with, Brian about this, and I've talked with other people about this and everything. And as much as I want to try to still do stuff and everything, unfortunately, it's gotten to a part in my life now, especially, to where it's just not going to happen. And I could try to do stuff and everything, but am I going to be able to put the 110% in like I've done with all the other stuff and everything? And at this moment in time, that my answer to that is no, I can't. I feel as though I would be doing a extreme disservice to the community and an extreme disservice, to myself, if I was trying to do something I wasn't able to give 100%. So, after about a month, I flip-flopped between decisions of whether I wanted to keep doing this or not. I made the decision today to just say, you know what? I can look back and say that Brian and I have by far put together the best monthly series in Jacksonville. I don't think anyone's ever going to compete with that. And knowing that and reflecting on that and reflecting on what I have to tackle now in the future, especially with what's going on personally with me, I made the unfortunate decision that I'm no longer, going to run or organize events here in Jacksonville. Now, with that said, I will never say never, because there may be a time where things are right again, and maybe I can do it again. I don't know. I'm not the type of person to just close a book entirely on something. I've always taken things one day at a time and seen what was there. But as far as the immediate future, as far as things that's going on right now and everything, I can't dedicate that. And it sucks. I mean, believe me, I hate the fact I made this decision, but at the end, it's the right decision. Because of that. And I wanted to talk about this before I got into the Strive beta, because I felt like one thing that I think I've always been, and I think it's a big reason why things were as successful as they were, is I wanted to be 100% transparent with everybody. I think if you ask anybody about, you know, about my personality or one thing about me or everything, is that I am completely transparent when it comes to making sure people know what to expect and what they want, what they should know. So that's why I went along that route. That's why I wanted to be transparent with everybody, and I've talked with people about this before I made this decision and everything, and like a lot of the closer friends of mine knew that this was something I was weighing for a while now, and it just got to a point where it's just one of those deals where I had, like I said, I had to make a decision, and it sucks, but it's ultimately the right decision. That's primarily it as far as why I decided it. Like I said, I'll never say never as far as like I will never say I'm never going to run an event or anything like that again. I don't know. It's just, I just know at this moment in time, though, and for the foreseeable future, it's just not possible. Now, with all that said, I am not leaving the community. I want to make that first and foremost known. I'm not leaving the community. I'm not leaving the FGC. I'm not leaving, my local group or anything like that. I'm not doing that. I'm still going to be around, especially, if people want to have an online session with me or stuff like that, cool, I'm down. Let's play, Like, I'm not going to leave this group. There's too much, appreciation for this group. So I'm never going to leave that. And I am going to help out here and there with a couple other things. For those that don't know, I have been helping out the Rona Rumble crew a little bit on Sundays with their Grand Blue tournaments. So I'm still going to keep my hands involved with some stuff here and there, but I'm not going to overload everything else because of how many other things I need to take care of before then in that regard. So I'll be around when events do start happening again, and like for example, Juicy Crew in Orlando, when they start holding their monthlies again or anything, you can guarantee to see me there. I'll still be at CEO, I'll still be at CEO Taku, I'll still be at places. But like I said, as of now, the events, trying to run events here in Jacksonville, are very much on the back burner as far as that goes and everything. Yeah, exactly, Villain. It's exactly right. It's 100% accurate as that. And like I said earlier, I don't think that there was any other events or monthly series that was in Jacksonville that was even close to what you and I were able to put together, Brian. Bottom line, plain and simple. We await your return. It's understandable. So like I said, it's not a goodbye. It's not a see you space cowboy deal or whatever the case may be. It's a deal where it's just like, I'm going on a long ass fucking vacation and I'll see you down the road. I think that's the best way to word it. With that, it's just primarily, first and foremost, everyone just needs to get through this tough time right now and get through this struggle and everything. And even then, like, I know, like I said, for me personally, even getting through all this, I still have my obstacles that I need to overcome. I mean, I'm still trying to find a job to replace Uber driving right now. I don't know how many freaking applications I put in now and everything, but it's just not happening. And even now with this, it's super hard to find a job, especially in this climate. So that's where I'm at. That's where things are. That is the, that is the story and everything. I probably went a little longer than I should, but I felt as though providing backstory and providing how things started and how things were before, things went to hell and stuff like that, basically, how it was. And, if there's someone else that wants to step up and do events and everything and wants to do stuff, I hope you all knock it out of the park. I hope you guys, whoever, does want to do stuff and everything, set your bar to the quality that Brian and I did shit. I mean, that's my message as far as that goes. Hasn't happened yet, but, I'm hoping for it. Because, this community deserves the best. This community deserves, top notch. And it's just, like I said, right now, with everything going on, that's just unfortunately something I can't do. And I think for the most part, from everyone I've talked to, they're very understanding of that. So, at least I hope. I mean, I don't know. There may be somebody that doesn't, but it is what it is in that regard then, So, we'll see. We'll see, though. Y'all be extremely tough act to follow. Yes, that is true. That is one thing I do take pride in. If there is someone that's going to be following anything I do, I'm going to make it as tough of an act as it can possibly follow. That's just my MO. Yeah. So that was it. That was that's basically the gist of things and why I made the decision, as I did and everything. And like I said, it wasn't a blindside decision or anything like that. I've had conversations with close friends about this before and everything, and it's just like, thinking it over more and more, it just seems like that's the right decision to make right now. Okay, I got that off my chest.